I used to be 225 pounds, which might not seem like that much, but I'm only 5'7 3/4, so just under 5'8 in height, weighing nearly 230 pounds. It was a lot to carry around, and I'll be honest guys, this is kind of going to be a journey just to take you through my life on where I started and how I got to where I am right now. Hopefully some people out there might be able to use this as some inspiration for themselves and something to, lean on if you're going through a challenging time right now. I'm in California right now, so I don't have all my picture books from Massachusetts where I grew up, but some of them that I could find online I'll be putting on the screen next to me during this video just to kind of highlight what I'm talking about. I couldn't find many pictures from me back in the day being too overweight because I didn't really want any pictures of me growing up. I felt embarrassed by how big I was. In elementary school, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, I got heavier and heavier. I went to a Catholic elementary school where we had to wear a shirt and tie, and I was always embarrassed with how my shirt would fill out with the fat in it. So I wore a sweater all the time, and my friends in elementary school would always joke about how I always wore the sweater like it was like my blankie, like I always needed it, but I never wanted to admit to them that the reason why I wore that sweater was because I was so overweight, and I felt like the puffiness of the sweater kind of hid my fatness. It didn't, but it felt reassuring to think that way. It got me through the days, and as I got older and grew, I didn't eat very healthy. I grew up in a family of 5 boys. I'm the youngest in my family, and my parents were both very hard workers, so typically meals would be whatever you can find in the fridge, you eat it, and if you're hungry, you just eat more. There wasn't much of an education when it came around to nutrition as far as what's healthy to eat, what's not, what you should eat every day to maintain a good weight. Nope, it was just, I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat. Oh, there's a microwavable cheeseburger in the freezer. I'm really hungry, I'm gonna eat 2 of those because they're here and they're delicious. Because let's be honest, microwavable cheeseburgers are pretty good once you have a bite of them. They're not good for you, but when you're 12, 14 years old, you don't consider the facts of, is this healthy? Is this something that's good for me in the long term? It's, hey, this is good, I'm gonna eat it. And that kind of became a slippery slope into growing to 225 plus pounds as someone who's not the tallest person in the world. As I went to high school, I gained a little bit more weight, and I tried playing basketball. I still felt like I was in shape enough to run around and play and shoot, but man, I got exhausted so quickly. I couldn't keep up with a lot of the players and my classmates that were running circles around me. And I tried getting in shape, but I didn't realize the connection between eating healthy and working out. So I just thought that if I just ran around a lot, I'd lose weight, and I didn't. And I just kept gaining more and more weight, and I didn't know what was wrong with me. Though I didn't take it too seriously because the high school I went to, BC High, was an all-boys high school. So I didn't really care about what I looked like. I wasn't trying to impress the girls because there were none. It was just an all-guys high school where I would go, I'd be fat, and I would do my work and play basketball and go home and play video games and eat. And it didn't really change until I got to college. And that is where I had my major life adjustment on perspective, outlook, on how I should look, how I should feel, how I should care about my body and treat myself. And yeah, the biggest part of it was there were girls at college, and I was in college, and I never dated anyone before college. So I was like, oh man, I want to date these girls. There's a lot of beautiful girls here. And I look at myself in the mirror and I'm just like, yeah, no, if I was one of these girls, why would I want to spend a second with me the way I looked at that time? So freshman year of college, most people, they call it the freshman 15, where you put on 15 pounds because you're just eating and hanging out and drinking or whatever people do freshman year of college to gain that weight. I did the complete opposite. I went to the gym every single day. I went until it closed at nighttime. I ran around the track. I learned about nutrition and what's good to eat, what's healthy, and not eating too much with every meal, not snacking every time I got hungry, trying to stick to a diet under 2,000 calories a day, which was very challenging for someone who was used to just eating what they wanted to every day of their life up until that point. But this is when I started doing some research on how to get in shape. This entire time leading up to this point, I had no idea how to lose the weight. Nobody ever told me. It wasn't something that was taught in schools when I was growing up. Nutrition was just kind of something they threw into physical education and combined it together. I never knew that eating less calories and eating healthier food equaled you're probably going to lose weight. I know it sounds completely obvious nowadays to a lot of people, but I wanted to make this just to let people know who might not know this, who might not have a class telling them in school saying, hey, just so you know, if you keep eating unhealthy, you're gonna keep getting fatter and fatter, because that's what happens when you don't eat right. And like I said, it's very obvious now, but leading up to this point, I had no idea whatsoever why I kept gaining that weight. So as I started working out, eating healthier, I started losing that weight and getting into a lot better shape, feeling really good about myself to the point of pant sizes. I was wearing a 38, I was wearing down to a 30. Like, it was insane how much weight I lost freshman year of college, and I truly felt good about myself. And I started dating some girls, and people started complimenting me on how I looked, and I'm like, holy crap, 1 year of my life, not even 1 year, just one school year of my life, erased what was 16, 17 years of bad eating leading up to that point. So 1 year can make all the difference if you dedicate yourself to it. The problem is, if you fall back into your old ways, the weight will come right back on. So it's a constant struggle every day. That's why I was so addicted to watching Boogie during his weight loss struggles. All the time he kept saying, I kept going back to food and eating because it was my comfort, it's what I knew, it's what I grew up with, it's what made me felt protected in the environment that I grew up with. I can totally relate to what he was saying. No, I didn't have abusive parents. No, I didn't have any of this crazy stuff going on in the background. I just didn't know any better. So I was very fortunate to grow up in a loving family where parents cared about me and wanted me to do better for myself. I wish they had a little bit more time to teach me about nutrition, but from their perspective, they didn't really know, because back in the day, nutrition wasn't really something that anybody cared about. It came bigger in the 90s when people started talking about it more and more, but before the 90s, nutrition was something that was kind of like, you just eat, and whatever you eat is fine, because most people don't have enough money to afford more than what they can eat daily anyways. So a very different perspective from them. So I don't blame my parents, I don't blame my upbringing, I just took a little bit longer to realize how nutrition works in the first place. I've been meaning to make this video for a very long time, but it doesn't really mix with my channel whatsoever. I talk about video games all the time, but the reason why I wanted to bring it up with you here is, one, I made a promise to myself that if I ever got to 10,000 subscribers that I would make a video talking about my weight loss journey, how challenging it was from the perspective of someone who is a hardcore video gamer, someone who likes to sit down and play video games all the time. I wanted to reach out to you guys and let you know that it was a challenge to me. It still is a struggle. Every day is a struggle with choosing the right things to eat, not eating too much, and finding time to work out every single day. This kind of falls in line with another video that I will do eventually talking about depression. I've done a couple videos about this in the past as well, and how I'm typically a happy person, but we all have our bad days, and I feel like a lot of people cling to video games as something to make them feel better, but I also want to mention you need to find the time to step away from the video games, put them down for at least bare minimum 30 minutes a day, if not an hour, just to work out, move around, go outside for a walk, a jog, get an elliptical. Don't make excuses, make answers. Figure out how you can squeeze this into your life, and you would be amazed at how much better you feel about yourself every single day. And I know this might feel a little bit scatterbrained and jumping all over the place, but stay with me here. So after I graduated college, was in much better shape, I started working in Massachusetts and then eventually made the decision to move out to California because honestly, you only live once, and I figured, why not take this point in my life, I was 25 years old, make this major life change and just go with it. Make my life someone who cares about how they look, how they live. And if it doesn't work out, I could have always moved back to Massachusetts, but I wanted to at least give it the old college try and move out to California and see if I could get this thing to work out. So a few years after moving out to California, working out consistently every single day, keeping myself in as good a shape as possible, while still working at Sony Online, playing video games as a game tester, a game master, and then moving on as a recruiter in the video game industry, it was a dream come true, but it didn't sidetrack me from the ultimate goal of making sure I take care of me first, making sure that I find time to work out and keep myself in shape so that I always try to feel as best as I can. I don't ever want to feel depressed or down, and I felt like that was where I was in my darkest point in my life, is when I gained all this weight and felt hopeless. I felt helpless. I felt like nobody was there to really lean on and know what I was going through. So there are a tremendous amount of people that aren't famous, that aren't YouTubers, that are big, that everyone knows about, that struggle with this on a daily basis. And it's something that I wanted to make public about myself, just so you guys know where I'm coming from and what my journey to get here is like. After I moved to California, I met my girlfriend, turned into my wife, got 2 kids, and I couldn't be happier, and I still focus on keeping myself in shape. Even though video games will always be my #1 hobby, my passion that I absolutely truly beloved, that will never change, I still need to take time away from that to make sure I care for myself. And sometimes playing video games is that. I don't want to act like video games are bad or anything like that, but they do detract from the time for taking care of yourself. Sometimes you go to video games as a thing to make them feel better after a rough day, and I totally get that. I'm not saying video games are something you shouldn't be playing or limiting yourself like a parent. You shouldn't be doing, no, I'm not saying that. I love video games, I play them as much as possible, but I also take care of myself first. And with my wife and kids, we go to a boot camp almost every day. When she's not working, we're able to make it. We bring our kids, they have free childcare, and we work out and we work our asses off. It only lasts 45 minutes, and it's a really good workout. Gets you feeling good about yourself, gets you back into shape, gets you all that motivation that you're looking for that you don't feel like you have in your life. Going to this workout 45 minutes every single time we can make it. We try to go every day. It doesn't necessarily happen that way, but we make every effort to make it there as often as possible. Anyways, that is the long and short of my weight loss journey. Right now I weigh just about 190 pounds. At my absolute lowest in college, I was down to about 168, which was really pushing being underweight, but I felt like I had enough muscle on me where it was okay. I was in, personally, I feel like that was the best shape of my life, but it was extremely challenging to get to that point. Kind of let myself go a little bit after having 2 kids, but still focus on working out so I don't go back to the 225 or 230 weight that I was back before college. I hope this video reaches people out there. If there's even one person that hears this message and says, oh, I can actually do something about how I look, then I feel like I've made a difference. So I guess that's why I'm making this video. No, it doesn't really have to do with the news. No, it doesn't have to do with video games specifically. And no, it doesn't have to do with what my channel really focuses on, but I kind of just wanted to take a step away, let you guys know about what my life was like so you know who I am, what I've dealt with, and why every day is kind of a struggle and why it's challenging to feel happy on a daily basis if you don't take care of yourself first. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.